pinball machines, and you might think of a mainstay of video game arcades everywhere, or just a way to kill some time in a fish and chip shop or bowling alley.
But what you might not know about pinball is that it has a dark and sordid history, in which it was banned in the United States for almost 30 years. So what could a machine of clanging sounds and flashing lights do that was so bad? Well, I've got a handful of quarters and I'm headed to the Seattle Pinball Museum to find out.
Charlie Martin is a local collector and owner here at the museum, which has been running since 2010. So he knows a thing or two about pinball.
Pinball machines were derived from a game called Bagatelle that was played in the court of Louis XIV, I believe. And when the French soldiers came to the United States, they brought it along. The Americans, being clever fellows and very inventive, decided that they were going to make some improvements on it. It's definitely come a long ways from its humble beginnings.
Pinball was banned for a period in the United States. Why was that?
In the 40s, pinball was, taken off in popularity. After the Great Depression, people needed things to do in the United States, and they were creating these games. And so these small machines really were everywhere, and they started thinking, well, we need to get these off the counters and into more full-size machines. So they came up with machines that were quasi-gambling devices. And at the time, in the 1940s New York, Mayor LaGuardia decided that these devices were a bad influence, probably because there was some influence by organized crime. This was gambling, and they didn't want to expose children to it. And in reality, it was probably because the government wasn't getting their slice of the pie.
That's very interesting. You never think of pinball as being related to like organized crime or gambling, really.
Oh yeah, it definitely was. It kind of went underground for 30 years or so, in the back rooms of pool halls and speakeasies and barbershops and gambling dens, and popularity started growing. So the manufacturing consortium had a vested interest in making these mainstream again. So they contacted a gentleman by the name of Roger Sharpe, and they arranged to have a demonstration to show the New York City commissioners that pinball machines are not a game of chance or luck, rather a game of skill.
Roger Sharpe was asked to demonstrate the point on a different machine than originally planned. But even on this unfamiliar machine, he was able to accurately call and execute the shot, changing the course of pinball history.
Roger is forever known as the man that saved pinball in the United States.
And what do you think it is about pinball that's so compelling?
Pinball really has the complete package. It really taps into 3 of the 5 senses. Pinball machines are kind of designed either for flow, which is just continual motion, or designed for stop-and-go action. I've only got 4 minutes to, go to my pinball place, as opposed to a flow game that it takes you on this extended journey.
So what do you think makes a good pinball machine?
You have to start with a very good team, because a pinball machine is not made by one person. They're really compilative works of kinetic art that everybody has to be spot on their job. And probably one of the best pinball machines ever made is over my shoulder here, called the Addams Family. I made 21,000 of those machines. This is in 1992 or 93, and they created a masterpiece.
So what's the community around pinball like?
The community around pinball is very warm and welcoming, and it's kind of multifaceted. There are people that love to collect them. There are people that love to restore them. There are people that love to compete on them. When you're bitten with a pinball bug, it's pretty much a lifelong type of thing.
And where do you see the future of pinball going from here?
I think pinball is going to try to become a little bit more mainstream. Hopefully you'll see more and more pinball machines in people's homes, and maybe in more of the family entertainment centers, maybe more onto continents that are seriously deprived of them, like Australia.
Can I ask you one more question?
Of course.
Can we play some pinball?
I'm afraid I'm going to have to insist.